You ever get detention? Annoying, right? But what if it wasn't just about staying after class? What if detention meant you never left? Welcome to IRL Cuts, where real life hits harder than fiction. Today's story isn't just creepy, it's cursed. A sealed-off school wing, a classroom frozen in time, and a detention slip that might be your final warning. This is the terrifying tale of Room 56. Stay tuned. Stay sharp.
They say every school has its secrets. Hidden corners. Locked rooms. Stories whispered in hallways that no one takes seriously until they live through them. This is one of those stories. Mine. It happened in the fall of 2017. I was a junior at Hartley High, a public school in a quiet Massachusetts town. Nothing about Hartley ever screamed horror. It looked like any other high school. Brick walls, rusty lockers, fluorescent lights that flickered just enough to be annoying, not unsettling. But underneath the ordinary, something waited. It began with detention. Friday afternoon, just before the last bell, I got busted for skipping gym. Again. Coach Stanford had already written me up twice, but this time, he didn't let it slide. Room 56, 4 p.m. sharp, he said, scribbling my name onto a yellow slip. You'll be there, or you'll be suspended. Got it? I frowned. Room 56? That's not even on the map. Coach gave me a weird look. It's in the East Wing. Just past the old art rooms. That wing hadn't been used in years. I'd heard stories. Mold issues. Asbestos. Maybe a small fire. It was sealed off when I was in 8th grade. Even the janitors avoided it. But I wasn't in the mood to argue. I took the slip and walked off, figuring it was some overflow classroom they were using for after-school punishment. 4 p.m. came too fast. I was the only one headed toward the East Wing. The halls thinned out as I got closer. The paint on the walls looked older. Dustier. Like it hadn't been touched in decades. I passed a row of lockers that looked straight out of a 1980s movie, dented and tagged with long faded graffiti. Then I saw it. Room 56. The number was carved, literally carved, into the wooden door. Not painted. Not a plaque. Just deep, ragged gouges, like someone had scratched it in with a knife. I reached for the handle. Cold metal. I twisted it slowly, and the door creaked open. The room smelled wrong. Not just old or musty. Something sour. Like wet carpet and spoiled meat. Inside, it was freezing. The kind of cold that sinks into your bones. There were 6 desks. 1 chalkboard. A broken clock frozen at 4:17. And a single chair behind the teacher's desk. No lights. Just the dim gray of evening through the cracked blinds. I stepped in. The door shut behind me. I turned fast, but there was no one there. Coach? I called out. Nothing. Hello? I waited. Silence. I looked around the room, uneasy. The chalkboard had faint writing on it, something scribbled and smudged, like it had been erased hastily. I leaned in. Serve your time. That's all it said. I sat at the closest desk, checking my phone. No signal. Of course. A few minutes passed. No one came. And then I heard it. A chair moving. But I hadn't moved. It was the desk behind me. I turned slowly. The seat was pulled out. Like someone had just sat down. I stared at it, heart pounding. Who's there? No answer. I stood up, backing toward the door. I grabbed the handle, locked. I yanked harder. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. Panic started to rise. Suddenly, the chalk behind me screeched across the board. I whipped around. New words were written now. Sit down. I did. I don't know why. Instinct? Terror? The moment I sat, the temperature dropped even lower. I could see my breath. And then the whispers began. Low. Unclear. Like a crowd murmuring just beneath the surface of the world. Then a voice, louder. A girl's voice. Right behind me. Don't turn around, she whispered. I froze. Whatever you do, she said again, don't look at them. That's how they get you. My throat was dry. Who? But the girl didn't answer. Instead, I heard the unmistakable sound of feet dragging. 1, 2, 3 pairs. Moving slowly around the room. I stared at the chalkboard. They're the ones who never left, the girl said. The first kids in detention here. From 1982. I shook my head. What are you talking about? They died in this room. I finally turned. No one was behind me. No girl. No one at all. Just empty desks. But now every seat was pulled out. All 6 of them. And the chalkboard had changed again. No talking during detention. The door behind me slammed open. I jumped. But no one walked in. Instead, I saw it. A figure. No, not a person. Something wrong. It looked like a man, but his limbs were too long. His head bent forward like it was too heavy for his neck. He wore a teacher's suit, but the clothes were rotting, old and wet like they'd been buried. His face was missing. Just blank, gray skin stretched where his eyes and mouth should be. He started walking toward me. I bolted. I slammed my shoulder against the door, again and again. Nothing. He kept coming. Silent. Steady. And then, the fire alarm blared. The sound snapped the air like a whip. I turned, and the room was empty. The door was open. Outside, Coach Stanford stood with a confused expression. What the hell are you doing in there? I didn't answer. I just ran past him. The next week, I refused to go near the East Wing. I told my friends. No one believed me. Until Jordan went in. He didn't come out. They found him 2 days later. In room 56. Sitting at a desk, face frozen in a scream. His heart had stopped. They said it was a seizure. But I saw the chalkboard behind him before they covered it up. Detention completed. They sealed off the East Wing again after that. Real thick metal doors this time. Room 56 isn't spoken about anymore. But I know the truth. It's still there. Waiting. And if you ever get a detention slip with room 56 on it, burn it. Or your name might end up on that chalkboard too.
And that was the story of Room 56. Still think detention's just a punishment? Thanks for watching IRL Cuts, where reality tells the wildest stories. If that one gave you chills, drop a like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a cut. Got your own school horror tale? Share it in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay sharp.